Appreciate that. No Raylos, no droids, no bounty hunters, no Adam Driver fans of any kinds, no sequel trilogy fans, no Kathleen Kennedy apologists or story group apologists or what have you. Want to talk a little bit about a lot of different things today, so it's not just going to be one thing or the other. So today, and I'm going to share this out, and I'm back. So I'm going to do this again. Hey, Dave, just a second. I got to share this out to Facebook. BRB. So yesterday, I want to get to like the what I call the free for all portion of this. As you guys know, I don't normally talk politics. I don't like it. I'm one of these people that if I do talk politics, I will definitely come down on the right. I'm a libertarian populist. But I want to say this. Yesterday, this is why I'm doing this. Yesterday, my husband and I went to the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg at the farm complex. Had a blast, picked up some t-shirts and things like that, just talked to some guys we know, saw some new guns. I actually want a Colt Defender, which is a shorter barreled 1911, and it also comes in 9mm. I want the 45. I don't believe a gun is a 1911 if it's not a 45. If it looks like one, but it's not. Okay, it's gotta be a 45. Anyway, so I talked to the Colt guy there. Sorry. Walked around. Hey, Cross, how you doing? Okay, you're on the East Coast or the West Coast, right? Okay. So, we looked at. They have a lot of outdoor outfitters, which basically are companies that actually lead guided hunts like Wyoming, Montana, New Mexico, Arizona, Alaska, Greenland, South Africa, things like that. And they have beautiful trophy mounts, beautiful. So I picked up some brochures there, bucket list. Pretty fun, pretty cool. Saw a Belgian Malinois demonstrating some stuff, how well they're trained and everything. Beautiful dog, by the way. I love them. They're some of the coolest animals you could ever see, but they're batshit crazy. And they don't get tired. Like Kojak is just like whatever. He's laying right here. He's literally right here. Malinois are like hanging from the ceiling. I mean, they're cat dogs. We had one. He was nuts. Certifiable. Did that. And as I'm walking, because, all right, you walk into one room and it's like Sig Sauer, Colt, Smith & Wesson, the NRA's got their big, because it's the National Rifle Association outdoor show. And just what is going on? Just a second. Okay, that was weird. The door just flew open from the garage. All right. So, you have this big room where you've got gun manufacturers, furniture manufacturers, everybody like that. Our friends at 717 have a booth, and we hung out with them. And I told the owner about, I trained myself to shoot right-handed. He was really impressed. I mean, his son is a retired U.S. Marine Corps squad leader, and that guy is, I mean, anything you want to know about security and keeping your house secure, that's it. I mean, he knows. So talked to them for a bit. So So walking, there's a long hallway. Walking down, and there's like dozens of different little, they're selling bags, like backpacks and range bags. Then I see a guy with really, really long brown hair and these bright blue eyes holding up a sign that said 40% of Wisconsin hunters are not registered voters. And I went, it's Scott Presler. Now, if you are on X, if you know anything about Scott, he runs around from one state to the other, registering Republicans to vote in the primaries to help Donald Trump. He's gay. Scott is. It doesn't matter. I don't care. The guy works harder than anybody. I mean, anybody. Okay. I've never seen. These are the kinds of people you want working on your campaign. And he makes Ronna McDaniel look like a dumbass, which is not hard. My dog makes Ronna McDaniel look like a dumbass. So I said, when we're done, going through the outfitters and the hunting guides and, looking at the NRA store, let's go and stop and talk to Scott. So I went up and I introduced him. And I actually got interviewed, but because it was so loud in there, my voice is the way it is, I don't think they used it. They didn't have to. I wouldn't blame them if they didn't. So we're talking to him, and I find myself re-registering as a Republican. And it's not because I love the party. It's because I want to be one of those wilding rebels that drives the Romneys, the McDaniels, the Haleys, the Ryans, and the Chris Christies the fuck out. All right. I want to be one of those people. And I could not believe it. But when I started thinking about everything and what's been going on in the world, I think it's a smart move. I think, if you're an independent, that's fine. I was and will probably be again. But I think the year of the big election for president, you should probably be a registered Republican. And I don't think Scott could hear me when I was talking, but this is me. Yes, my hair is that actual color. With Congressman Richard Armey, the House Majority Leader, when I was one of his staffers, wearing my favorite suit, black, with a lovely blue silk shell. It was really kind of sharp. That was the day he signed the Homeland Security bill. And then it got sent up to President Bush and he signed it into law. But I've worked in politics, obviously. I've worked on Capitol Hill, obviously. I was a volunteer for the Bush national campaign in D.C., and then I was a volunteer for the inaugural committee. And, so I was actually on the committee, and I got tickets to go to the Texas-Wyoming ball. There's a reason why I'm attached to Texas. It's because of Army, because of W, et cetera, et cetera. Now, that being said, would I support George W. Bush now? No. No. Would I support John McCain? No. If let's say he was still alive, a younger man, and was running for president, and somehow got the nomination, I would vote for my dog before I'd vote for John McCain. And the reason simply is people like that have ruined the party. I mean, I want you to look at something. The immigration bill just got released to the Senate. It is a dumpster fire pile of shit that high. And it's nothing more than a Democrat's wish list. But our fearless Kentucky minority leader of the Senate, Mitch Dumbass McConnell, who's probably more senile now than Joe Biden, and one of his deputies, Langford, are the ones that are pushing it on Republicans. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, said it's dead on arrival. Now, you wonder why I rejoined. It's to help people like Scott take the Republican Party from the globalist Rockefeller bullshit to populist, conservative populist America First Party, which is what it should be, libertarian leaning. The way Ronald Reagan imagined it, and the way, Trump and a lot of others talk about it when they talk about what is wrong with America, what we can do to fix it. And it's got to be a party based on hope. When I'm hanging out and, I'm on X and somebody posts a picture of a black funeral wreath and says, RIP America, that pisses me off. I get enraged by it. It's the same, I'm pissed off, enraged, that I do when some black pill blob starts screaming that Star Wars is dead. It's like, then stop talking about it. Okay, stop talking about it. Now, I've been told that, the big channels like, the bearded Coke bottle glasses and others, we don't talk about Star Wars anymore. Then you see his mini-me on, Star Wars theory, talking about Star Wars. All right, stop talking about that. All right. And stop trying to hurt the people that are trying to save it. Stop saying shitty things about Jon Favreau. Stop saying shitty things about Dave Filoni and stop making shit up about them. Okay. My attitude towards people, and it's always conservatives, always, when they say shit like that, the conservative movement is very negative. Okay. The only time you didn't see it negative is when Ronald Reagan was president and he was the leader of the party. He was the happy warrior. All right. Then Andrew Breitbart suddenly appears on the horizon, another happy warrior. Now we got Donald Trump. He is not a conservative. He is a populist. He's a libertarian. And I'm going to say this right now. I have noticed that there's a certain kind of libertarian that actually conservatives can lean against. People like, Clint Eastwood's a libertarian. Kurt Russell. Okay, those are two that I can think of right off the bat. They mind their own business. They expect you to mind yours. What more do you want? Okay. Here's the problem. We don't have happy warriors anymore. Okay. And I don't care who it is. I don't. There's no bigger buzzkill than someone saying shit like RIP America, and they're supposed to be patriotic. George Washington could have said that. Thomas Jefferson sitting on his horse watching Monticello burn, British soldiers running around, could have said that. Okay. I'm literally, I get pissed off. Okay. Maybe it's because I'm Catholic. Maybe it's because I'm not nihilistic. Sometimes it's actually good Christians. Hey, Corianne, how you doing? Who say this is dead or go off on some negative tangent. Look, the world's in a shitty place. All right. The border's not secure. We've got a demented jackass in the White House. Canada, by the way, has, Castro Jr., of course the Russians are going to take advantage. But, I didn't work for this guy not to learn a few things. Okay? First off, if you honestly think that Russia is really great friends with Iran, think again. Okay? Putin probably has about this much patience with the Ayatollahs. Because, trust me, they cause a lot of trouble for Russia. Okay? Russia's got a problem with that. And Putin knows it. I would think that Putin would rather have a strong United States with Donald Trump as the head, where you could negotiate a peace in Ukraine, run the grifting runt that runs Ukraine out, you could get Israel to finish what they're doing, do whatever they're doing. You could actually have the adults in the room talking. You know, I would hope so, Corianne and Richard. Because there aren't any adults in the room. We were told 4 years ago, well, the adults will have to come back in charge. Anybody here ever meet Nancy Pelosi? I did. Working for him, House Majority Leader. She is a condescending, wicked witch. And you can just feel the evil seeping out of her bony old fingers. Okay. She's like Palpatine with none of the charm. And I did not meet Hillary Clinton. Okay. I did not meet Hillary. So I don't have any reference guide. But as far as evil in the world that I've met, probably Nancy Pelosi takes the cake. Okay, I'll tell you a story. So it's during the Homeland Security hearings. I'm sitting at my desk. Tom DeLay, the majority whip, is sitting there on the sofa across from my desk. He's got his Hill newspaper out, and he's got roll call out, and we're talking about stuff. What could come up, and football and everything, and the intern's at his desk. I had to mind the intern. It's like herding squirrels. Okay, first of all. So I'm sitting there and door bursts open. This black guy who looks like a linebacker walks in, that I believe was the Capitol Hill police officer that murdered Ashley Babbitt, by the way. Just want you guys to know that. I think it was him. And the other guys walk in, and Pelosi walked in. Let me add something. A week before, I had gone down to lunch. I'm on the elevator. Ron Paul's on there with me. If anybody is familiar with, Ron Paul is the father of Rand Paul. He was a Texas Republican, libertarian as the day is long. And he's like the heir apparent to Ayn Rand. Okay, so we were talking, and Dick Armey, my boss, had a libertarian bent. So, anti-abortion, what have you, and all that. Okay, so I'm in the elevator. The elevator opens. We're in the Cannon House office building. Army's, you have to walk across like this small lobby from the elevators. Army's office is the corner office. It's a personal office. His main office is in the Capitol. The Cannon House Caucus room, where the hearings are being held, this is in 2002, is literally right there. And Nancy Pelosi standing out there, screaming bloody murder at an 18-year-old intern, little blonde girl, who's just sobbing. I walk in going, and the AA, who's like the chief of staff for the personal office, walks out. He's like, who is yelling out there? And I go, it's Minority Leader Pelosi screaming at one of her interns. He kind of peeks out and goes, I'm like, aren't you glad we work for Army? He goes, yes, I'm very glad. So anyway, she walks into the office with her security contingent. The temperature of the office literally dropped 20 degrees. That's how much fecal matter, sewage comes out of that heinous cow. Looks down her nose at me, and I'm looking at her like, you can imagine. I take a glance over at DeLay, and he's got the biggest smart-ass look on his face. Because I look like I hate this fucking bitch. Because I do hate this fucking bitch. And ever since I saw her screaming at her intern, very unprofessionally, by the way, I hated her that much more. Okay. So I had to show, we had, Army had a personal office inside of like a private office inside there. And we had like Hill Catering for the lunchrooms for the house would cater. If we call them, said we need this, and this, they come up with coffee, really good coffee, by the way. They got Starbucks, donuts, bagels, all the fixins, whatever you wanted, like kind of like stuff like that in there, sodas, you name it. And I kind of pointed her there, and I told the intern, I can't remember what his name, Bradley, I think it was, to make sure that she was comfortable. I wasn't getting up. Moment she disappeared, the intern comes back to his desk, and I'm like, "You've got the phones." I went back until delays laughing his ass off. No, it was he. His name was it was a guy intern. Delay was laughing his ass off because basically the look on my face was, who the fuck are you to look at me like that? You know, I mean, he was like, the look on my face was like a skunk walked into the bar. It was like, I couldn't help it. I'm not an actress. So a lot of things like that happened. I got to hang out with a lot of different people you never expect. Like, a friend of mine was on an elevator with Bono. Actually, it was the AA, who was 6'4". Bono was that big. He's a dwarf. He's a little dude. Okay. Others ran into Elton John, when they're testifying for stuff. And since I don't know what that means and you're not going to speak English, I'm sorry. You know, but while that was fun, and when you're younger, you've got more energy, you get to do stuff. The last 10 years have really made it plain that party politics and I don't get along. When I saw what they were doing to railroad, trying to get I don't know if my ranchers want to handle these idiots or not, whatever. What they did to force John McCain as the nominee was just pathetic. And the other reason why is because, damn it, it's his turn. And he ran a shitty fucking campaign. All right, he really did. I wanted Fred Thompson. I thought Fred Thompson would be a hoot, in debates, but he was already too sick to do it, to actually be presidential material. Okay, then and you? And then of course they forced Romney down our throats. The liberal, fake Republican governor of Massachusetts, the liberal, fake Republican senator from Utah. And I'm done. And my conversion to leaving basically that the establishment behind was, I didn't want Trump, I wanted Marco Rubio. I felt like it's time for Gen X to have their own. And then first off, I wanted Rick Perry because I thought he was a great governor for Texas. Much better than W was, by the way. And he got railroaded. They didn't want him. The establishment was all up in, Romney's stuff to begin with. And then they were all up in, oh God, who was Jeb Bush? Hey, Mays. I know. You should ask Pablo about that. Because they didn't start until I started challenging him again. We'll get to that. Okay. But what changed me was, uh, Maze, you want to take this guy out, please? One of you guys, one of my wrenches, do something about this jackass. I was watching the news one day. I think it was a Friday afternoon. Hubby had the day off. It was in September of 2016. And Hillary's interviewed doing this. Why aren't I ahead by 50 points? And I'm looking at her going, I'm done. I'm done with these motherfuckers. Talk to the hand. I voted for Trump. Why? Because I would have absolutely, I mean, that woman is untenable. She's, I mean, first off, a pedophile. She's on Jeffrey Epstein's list. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. The fact that she tolerated Bill's abuses of her, which kind of chronic adultery is bullshit. And we're all supposed to think she's a feminist? Are you fucking kidding me? You know, my old boss, yes, for those people, that really is my hair color. My old boss, when they were impeaching her husband, basically said, Cankle Queen, you know, that Susan Army, his wife, would kill him. And he'd be right. Okay. Where's the self-respect, Hillary? You're you know, parading around like some big feminist icon, and you take mounds of shit from Bill. Okay. So let's go further. We get to the election night. My best friend and I are on the phone. We're both drunk off our asses. I'm drinking champagne and smoking cigars because by 9 o'clock, I was pretty sure Trump had won. And we were laughing our asses off. And the crowning achievement is my husband walks in the room. Our dog is not supposed to be on the sofa, but Buford was sitting next to me, laying on the sofa with his head on my lap. I'm on the phone with Jen. We're laughing hysterically. It's like 2 a.m. And John Podesta's up there, enraged, telling everybody to go home. And we're like, where's Hillary? You know where she was? Drunk off her ass, because she just got her fat fucking ass handed to her. All right. No fake bullshit here. And you know, so I was thinking about all that when Scott and I were talking, and it really kind of brought home to me the good, I think, you can do if you get involved before the primaries to, you know, force the establishment out. Okay, we got to recreate it new. Okay, look, we've got conservatives who are hopeless. We've got Rockefeller Republicans, which is what Dad used to call Bush 1 and, you know, Nixon and everybody, even though he voted for Nixon twice. All these people were Rockefeller Republicans. They're not conservative. There you go. Okay. It's very interesting to me looking at all this and realizing the good that I can do just by walking into the booth and on primary day and voting. All right. Okay. And Scott's right about that. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit about Star Wars now. Okay, since first half hour was me blathering on about shit. Garbage I don't like talking about. Anyway, the house that Kennedy Marshall have for sale up in Malibu is now under contract, but contingent. They're still taking offers. Okay, and I think what they're trying to do is start bidding more. When it goes from contingent to pending contract or whatever, or contract, I don't know how exactly they do it. in California, then we can be sure the house has passed inspections. They're into a bigger negotiating period. The lawyers are involved because high-end real estate, you get law dogs on there. Now, I am going to say this. High-end real estate in California is not selling for what it used to. Okay, so the idea that Crazy thought that she could sell that place for double what she paid for it. I just, really? What? Seriously? You think that? Got a cookie there? That doesn't make any, really doesn't make any sense to me. That's insane. Dave, can you take this person out of this? Out of here, thank you. It's really interesting to me. So that's going on. And I think we're close to a announcement. Third of all, a certain Lucasfilm person who shall remain nameless, but you know who he is, scrubbed all recent activity but for shilling for a podcast he's going to be on, shilling a visual dictionary that he wrote. You know who I'm talking about. None of the stuff where he's whining about YouTubers. His Blue Skies account has been cleaned. He's probably hiding behind his fake secure account, bitching about us right now. Why? Well, after Carl Weathers passed away, God bless his soul, Cameron fielded a call from, the red diaper baby. Cameron fielded a call from Sparrow. Sparrow basically said that they're scrambling to figure out what to do and rewrite for Grief Karga. I think it's too soon for them to think about recasting. That's a character you probably could, but probably don't want to. I don't know. But they were talking about other things. And apparently, troublemaking grounded monkeys have been shut out of any discussion of where the franchise is going now. You think it might be the red diaper baby? Yeah. Do you think maybe they saw him screwing around on YouTube again? Do you think maybe they saw that he was the one that told Gizmodo to say that the Ray movie is not delayed to cause trouble for John and Dave? Yeah. A friend of mine caught them talking. I got the screenshot. You guys saw the screenshot. What if we didn't mention that, is what Lucier is saying to, really? Okay. So that's going on. Now, apparently the filming date for the Mandalorian movie begins on June 17th, which is good. That's faster than I thought. Now, that could be a rumor, but it was somebody, one of Conran's subscribers found it and sent it on, posted it, and then Cameron did the thing about it. And we've got, at the end of the month, I believe, Bad Batch Season 3, it's the end, is going to happen. And it looks fairly good. In fact, Asajj Ventress is going to be in it. And of course, then you have people complaining, she's supposed to be dead in the comic book. Okay. The comic books are not canon. Okay. They're not. And obviously, it looks to me like some of the pro-Kennedy shills hate Asajj Ventress because they didn't come up with her. Okay. All right. Asajj Ventress. And when they showed her at the end of the trailer, I was like, and the reason why is because, wow, a guy under George Lucas's direction, actually, George Lucas, back when they had those shorts. Oh, they're not. Afra, in fact, the run for the Afra comics is done. Okay, and I doubt we'll see her anymore. Um, so we're getting Ventress, and we're getting a lot of other cool things. I think. Yeah, it. I think it is. I think that they're. I mean, I think that they're done. I with her. You know, she was popular with a certain group of people, and you know who I'm talking about. You know, but not popular enough for us. And in fact, I'm still in the. I've actually done some writing. Well, that came from the fact that she did have hair in that comic, where she falls in love with Quinlan Voss, and she saves him from Dooku and dies. There you go. Um, yeah, and it's going to be really cool, and it would be really nice to see her make it all the way to post Jedi and see what she'll do with Luke. I knew your father. You know, that shit. I mean, that'll be cool. I mean, that would be really cool. And, again, we've got a female character, well written by a man. Okay. Kind of like, I don't know, Leia. Kind of like, I don't know, Padme. You know, well, novel, comic, it doesn't matter. They're not canon. Okay. Sorry. But now the new stuff is going to be treated like you guys treated Legends. Okay. Star Wars Legends. Because you can't like something that actually has normal storytelling, can you? You have to have purple haired lesbian uh, Vice Admiral gender studies and all the rest of that fucking garbage that doesn't fucking belong in fucking Star Wars. Okay. There you go. Anyway, so yeah, so it's just gonna be in Bad Batch, and I kind of can't wait. I don't smoke Abe's. This is a thank you. Yeah, they were all. I mean, those were all Kennedy projections made up, strong female characters that you know um, they thought women really are, and they inspired nobody. You get these sequel trilogy shows posting photographs of a little girl dressed like Rey, getting a hug from Daisy. Okay, fucking cares? She's the only kid that liked her. I mean, anecdotally, I don't know any children who saw the sequel trilogy except for a couple little girls. One when I went to The Empire Strikes Back, and they were sitting in front of me, and this little girl was dressed like Rey, and I wanted to vomit. And I was, what was it? I was talking to somebody on the phone, and it was warm that evening. It was October. It was warm that evening. Had the window rolled down, and mommy and grandma, little girl and little boy, come back, and I'm like talking to this person, going, and she had her kid dressed like Rey. Why would you let her do that? The death stare I got, and I'm like, she should have been dressed like Leia, all right, or Padme. You know, Rey is not a good role model. And I'm sorry to tell people that. I'm sorry if it bothers people, but it's true. What else? We've got the Disney earnings call on Wednesday, and I am gonna listen to it maybe live. I don't know how I'll do it, but I'll try. I'll have it on here and then we'll just watch, you know, and, you know, um, I'll be able to make comments and stuff like that. First off, what is the rule of a Disney earnings call? Don't expect any announcements from Bob Iger about Kevin Feige's job, about Kathleen Kennedy, about anybody. He is going to talk about the Mandalorian movie. He is going to talk about whatever Marvel's got coming out, whatever Disney animation, etc. That's it. That's what he's going to talk about. He's going to talk about how great the parks and experiences are going. These calls are to calm investors, and he can't give Nelson Peltz any ammo, which is probably why we never got the email drop. All right, now, consider this. When I saw that an offer had been made for that house, I have a sneaking suspicion we're going to have a very fun-filled, news-filled February, okay? Because I have a feeling there's going to be an announcement about Kennedy's position, probably after the earnings call, maybe before. But remember, Sparrow had told Comron that the feeling was, and I think it was known, that Iger gave Kennedy till February to announce her retirement and to leave, or they were going to drop the bomb. So maybe she's bent the knee. I don't know, but well, it was 14.9. I guarantee you they didn't. The offer wasn't for 14.9. And again, high-end real estate now is not selling for what it used to. All right, none of it is. If you go look at that listing on Redfin and you look at comparable houses, I saw a house in the same neighborhood overlooking Malibu Cove, the same way this is, with, hey Baz, with a movie theater in it. And it was for $5 million with a movie theater and an in-ground infinity pool. I mean, I'm like, what else are you going to take? You going to take the $14 million one, or are you going to take the nicer one? All right, take the and $5 million house was nice. All right, you know, I looked at it. It didn't like, it was like on an acre or two, so the lot size wasn't really that big. Or maybe it was, I can't remember. I'd have to go look at, comparison. But I am very happy that somebody decided to put a bid out there and they accepted it. That tells me that they now want to get rid of it. Okay, they want it gone. They want to get rid of it. And we can look at that as the result of, Steven Spielberg and dissing her at the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny premiere, mentioning everybody but her, and she's standing literally next to him. And again, I've got the video all over on this channel. Frank looks at him like this when he says, John Williams. Kennedy gets this look on her face and is trying to use George as a crash helmet. George is like, just get me off the stage. He canceled her. I mean, that was it. Look, I know a lot of black pill blobs, the DK brothers don't understand that. But again, I worked for a professional politician. I know shit when I see it. And that was the shit. That was passive aggressive shit that he pulled on Kennedy. Okay. He didn't mention her, acted like she wasn't standing there, like there's a hole in the universe where she and Frank just kind of disappeared into. And what was really interesting to me is Harrison Ford is, I mean, he purposely put himself this way. Spielberg's here, George is here, Kennedy's like here, and then Frank. And he's looking like so he can see both of them. And Spielberg's got this smile on his face, and Harrison was smiling too. They knew exactly what they were going to do. They knew exactly what they were doing. And look, I don't like seeing people get hurt like that. It bothers me a great deal. I don't like seeing people embarrassed. But the fact of the matter is, that woman lied to George. She did everything she could to undermine everything he created and did. Every decision she made was piss poor. It didn't matter what franchise. Star Wars, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Willow. You know, why would you hire the writer for Solo to write a Willow project? Okay. And, you know, I'm like, you know, and, well, she's worse. I mean, Yoko did everything she could to protect John, which is what a wife should do. Kennedy did everything she could out of resentment and anger, and I think self-loathing, to undermine the everything that she ever was part of in her career. Okay, you know, people say she's one of the greatest producers of all time. Do we have to pull up her IMDb page? Do I have to show you who actually made the movie? Do I have to show you that the name Steven Spielberg is bigger? She didn't write Schindler's List. Another person wrote the script for Schindler's List. She wasn't the cinematographer for Schindler's List. She wasn't the director of Schindler's List. She was a producer who did a job. Okay, she didn't have any say in creative choices. She didn't have, any say in that shit at all. She wasn't the be-all, end-all decision maker of Jurassic Park. Or, let's see, Cape Fear, or Temple of Doom. She made an ass of herself in the dance number in the beginning. And Baz, when he put that little, I have to use that piece of video again somewhere, because that's freaking funny. Yeah, well, the thing about it is, you know, you're never going to see a Star Trek under her name. You will with Lucille Ball. You're never going to see, you know, a movie directing spot under her name. You will with Ida Lupino, you know. And go fuck yourself there. How's that? Now, this is what I get. It's, you know, like I said, I am over the target. They know it's coming. There's a reason why, you know, all that shit with the Ray movie after Chinoy was shut down. You know, there's a reason why all that shit happened, is because they don't want to see Star Wars be successful. All right. They want to burn everything down on the way out. Okay, look. This shit with these trolls, this is the final This is what we get. Now, I can't prove that it's Pablo, but ever since I started going off on him and his little friends, that writer for Inside the Magic, Wasn't that the website that Geeky Sparkles and Neon had that they were suddenly muscled out of? I think it was. I think that was actually their website. So no, I don't, you know, um, I'm not the one who talked to, thanks, Cross. I'm not the one who, made an ass of himself talking to that reporter who incidentally was the same reporter who broke the story that uh, Gina wasn't going to come back to Mandalorian. It's like, you gotta look at people and go, oh, okay, all right, now I get it. So, I know that we're on the right track. Okay, now about the Kennedy thing, we're on what day is it? The 4th or 5th of February. Man, some people looked at January saying it was going fast, and I'm like, or slow, and I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's going too fast. It always it's time seems to speed by when you're not noticing. Okay, and it really just wow. And we're into February, and you know, uh, I think we're gonna have a big month. Are we gonna get an announcement? I hope so. I hope it. I mean, I hope it comes soon. I am surprised that we haven't heard anything like any more stuff. But I am gonna tell you this: a very good leaker, Thwip something on X. He leaks a lot of stuff about DC, Marvel, Lucasfilm when he's got it. Basically, confirmed what we've known, that Kennedy's not at Lucasfilm anymore. She's not on the campus. In fact, it's really interesting to me that when they had the director of Godzilla Minus One there, it was Dave Filoni who invited the guy, not Kennedy. Okay, interesting. It is very interesting to me looking at this because, again, who's not there? Who's not being mentioned? Steven Spielberg has got Kennedy literally 2 feet away from him, says nothing about her and her husband. They're completely like they're off on the corners. They're off on the edge anyway, and I'm looking at him going, they were there. They were set on that side to begin for a reasons. Okay, and then we've got this director being invited by Dave Filoni and probably Jon Favreau to come to Lucasfilm to screen the movie. Really? Okay. Where we were told all last summer that Jon Favreau had left. Now he's directing Mandalorian and Grogu, and he and Dave are writing the script for it. I thought he was gone. So, and then of course Kennedy puts that house up for sale for way too much money. I mean, they bought it for like $9 million. Why did it get 18.9 for it? And it's like, no, you're not going to get that much money for that house. And again, because of the economy the way it is, high-end real estate's not going for what it did. Okay, and you got to look at, interest rates and other things. And people with a lot of money have a lot of money for a reason. They don't waste their money. They don't just buy shit. Okay, they accumulate wealth. Like, if you're like, I'll leave you guys with this, and this will go into gross box office versus net box office, which, if Maze is still here, I could talk endlessly for hours about how stupid the Black Pill Blobs and the DK brothers are, and the shills when we start talking about the basic economics and basic business of this. You're not a billionaire because you have a lot of liquid assets, and that's money, that's cash. You're a billionaire because you own tons of real estate. You own a very expensive jewelry, expensive cars, things that don't depreciate in value. You have a vast art collection. You have a vast gun collection. You have, a dozen thoroughbred racehorses that are worth, hundreds of thousands of dollars a piece. Okay. They do depreciate in value if they get hurt, but which is sad. But then people like me show up and take them and turn them into good riding horses. And that's the thing that bothers me crazy. I don't, Carlos, because VFX costs so much, and you and I both expect really good VFX. We expect good effects. I don't think they can make anything for under 20 million. They could probably make an per episode streaming show for that. Hi, Koji Baron. But as far as like making a movie for under 20 million, no, they can't. I mean, that's not going to happen, because you don't walk into a Star Wars movie to see a movie. You go in there to, it's an event, it's an experience, okay? You go in there to be transported to a different place, okay? You don't go again to see these movies to just watch a movie, okay? That was never the intent, okay, of them anyway. I mean, George always said, when I make a Star Wars movie, I want to give the fans something new to look at. One of the reasons why I hated Andor is because they filmed that walking area in Coruscant where people are going back and forth in London. I've seen that. I've been there. All right, I recognized it. I don't want to see something I recognize like from everyday life in Star Wars. Okay, now some people who think, oh, it's great saying such great writing. Really? Okay, so you're telling me Andor running around looking for his sister, killing those two cops, and then never resuming the hunt for his sister is good writing? It's not. It's really not. It's, we don't get to, what happened? We just gave up? We're not looking for the sister anymore? Really? The fact that they have one character that's intriguing, Luthen Rawl, played by the great Stellan Skarsgård, and we really don't get to know anything about him, but we get to know Mon Mothma's short, fat, drunk husband is a jackass. Who cares? Okay. Her daughter hates her. That's great writing right there. Oh my God. And we get the lesbians, and it's like, why do people think that's good writing? Why do people think putting any kind of garbage like that elevates the story? Okay, it doesn't. We're talking about the nascent rebellion, not, current politics. And if talking about current politics suddenly lifts something into good writing, that's propaganda, that's bullshit, and I don't want to see it. And again, when they say, well, you get, the Rainbow Flag Brigade screaming, they're worth it for everybody. Yeah, it is. So why don't you understand that and stop bothering people who just want good Star Wars and don't want to see your shit in their faces all the fucking time? This is my problem in a nutshell. On the left, we have people there who were never interested in Star Wars till they saw TFA, and they were never introduced to Han, Luke, and Leia till TFA. So they didn't know who Luke was. They didn't know who Han was. They didn't know who Leia was. They weren't familiar with any of the stories. They'd never read, the EU. They weren't, familiar with the backstory of the OT, which is the prequels. So they're shown that Han is a drunk deadbeat dad, that Leia was a terrible mother, that little girls are perfect, right? That the rebellion isn't a rebellion so much as it's a bunch of woke cocksuckers running around with, purple fucking hair wearing gowns that don't, fuck, and if they're not that community, they're taking these beautiful Asian women, instead of letting them be beautiful actresses, putting them into brown potato sacks, and then having them recite Maoist bullshit. And it's like, no one wanted that. So why on earth? And I mean, Mazurs can attest to this. I watched every bit of that shit. When it came out, all of Andor, every episode. And it was so bad, I had to quit reviewing it. I was just like, that's okay. I was literally like going, it was awful. I mean, Tony Gilroy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. I mean, when he goes to his writers, I don't want you to write anything about what you love about Star Wars. Then what are you supposed to write about? Here we go. There you go. Okay. So anyway, and of course, we've got those who whine and bitch and complain. Like, I even think Mazer saw this, that the sequel trilogy actually, that George Lucas bought Lucasfilm for $2 billion in liquid assets. No, he didn't. Most of what he got in exchange was Disney voting shares. And I guarantee you, he won't be voting for Bob Iger's board nominees. All right? I know that for a fact. And the reason why is because in the end, Iger's the one that let Kennedy get away with all this shit. He didn't have someone writing her ass. He didn't follow her around like he should have. He didn't, send her daily memos. Are you watching the dailies? It's like, ultimately, it's your fault. What happened with the Marvels? Bob, ultimately, that's your fault. Because you were the one that allowed this bullshit to happen to begin with. You're the CEO. You're the boss. Act like a boss. Anyway, and of course, 4.06 billion. And now, and I'm going to say this. If you honestly believe that the total gross for all the movies that Kennedy made is 4.09 billion or something like that, you honestly believe that? I bet you also believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, okay? Because those movies probably didn't gross that much, but let's say they did. Take all the production costs of all the movies and combine it. All right, then take the marketing costs, add that. Then take what the theaters took. And then, when you got all that, add to that the $700 million that Soilo and Indiana Jones lost together. Okay, that's how much money was lost. Okay, they didn't net that much money. They probably net about $1.9 billion. Maybe they netted less. All right. I'm going to say this. I think that, you know, we don't know. All right. I saw an estimated cost somewhere for TFA at $400 million. At $200 million for marketing. That's $600 million. How much do you think it took home? Maybe 700 million. That's really not that much money when you think about it. All right. Not anymore. Okay. So I got to go into, yeah, it does. It hurts my head. I mean, and I'm not usually one to be a penny pincher, but on stuff like this, I could be a real fucking bitch about where the money's going. Like, I'd be looking at this going, for what? Why? Like, this is something, and I'll let you go. There's a scene in the TV show The Offer where Francis Ford Coppola wanted to spend $50,000 on an actual working kitchen because it was integral to the scene where you've got Clemenza making Sunday sauce, which is what they call it, he was making, and trying to show Michael how to do it because look, Michael's being invoked into the family. He's being assumed. He has to know these things. These are traditions that the Corleone family has. All right. You're going to be cooking for like 20 guys. This is what you got to do. And Coppola and Mario Puzo both being Italian on steroids, food's very important. This is very important. Al Ruddy looked at that and said, no. So they have an argument, Al wins, and then Coppola brings it up again, and Al goes, you've got one working burner. Okay, don't push it. That's what you have to do, all right? You know, and as far as the reshoots, if you do it right, if you, look, measure twice, cut once. If you make sure and you rehearsed and everything's going well, and you've got the script you want, you should only have to shoot a film one time. Okay. Granted, a lot of movies have reshoots, but that should not be a rule. It should be something that's rare. Okay, because it costs money. All right. It costs money. Okay. And yet, here's Kathy. Here's money, here's money, here's money, here's money. You know, Miss Budget Director. Fuck. Anyway, I gotta go. I gotta let the dog out probably again. And I'll see you guys around the galaxy. Behave, be safe. Wednesday is the earnings call, so we gotta get ready for that. And hopefully good news is a coming. Steph signing out. See you around the galaxy.